times build character.
This isn't just a show, this is real life. It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish.
You gotta see it before anyone else can see it.
Every second, every minute, every day.
We train for life. We got you.
Welcome back, everybody. Episode number 11, the Relentless Way podcast. We're here today to talk about showing emotion, about being emotional. We want to let you know that it's okay. Three fellas right here. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you can see three handsome guys ready to just chat it up. Talk a little bit about, what we do in our everyday life and how emotions come into play even from when we're younger until now and through our entire journey. We have a special guest here today, Anthony Tango, Tango's Barbershop, a young entrepreneur himself. We're going to really get into all that through our topic today, have some fun with it. And as always, my partner and longtime friend here, Matt Strout, ready to rock it out and just chat a little bit. I want to start off just kind of nice and light and get a little insight of how you approach, especially something that I saw recently, we were just talking about before we went on, how you approach just being you when someone sits in your chair, from kids to adults to anybody that sits in your chair at the barbershop. How you approach just how you do what you do, man, because it seems so natural, and so comfortable for you.
Sure. It's right. It's an everyday thing, right? This is not, the camera, the lights are on. Right. This is an everyday feeling and emotion, right? The best thing. What do I work on? Honesty. Mm-hmm. As long as I'm honest with the client in front of me and with myself, that's what leads you to uncovering the answers you may need. Yeah. Is honesty, right? You build a relationship with these people. I build a relationship with my clients. And it's every 2 weeks. Right. Every week you see these people, right? They want to know updates.
Yeah, coming back in. Yeah, part of it, but they're part of the community, part of the life. There's just something I wanted to start off with, just for people to hear, man, because we see it. Matt and I, to give a little bit of insight of our connection, is we probably over the last year or so, we've always known each other. We've crossed paths here and there through mutual friends, things like that. But we started going to Anthony getting our hair cut, and he started coming to Relentless and working on himself and along with us, but has brought a lot to the table too. We've found a real natural connection between the three of us, just constantly growing, always staying in touch, always having good conversations like we talked about, whether it's in the chair or not, bringing it here today. And I know Matt even, we talk about that a lot, how well the job he does and how natural it looks and seems when someone just sits down in that chair, and it's like every single person, you just said it before.
Yeah.
He does it every day,
Yeah, I would say that was one of the big things that we noticed off the jump that we talked about, because like you said, we've known each other throughout the grapevine, different people here and there, but I think when we first started spending that time of starting to get our hair cut, whether it be, once a week, every other week, just the ability to keep it so natural and to have the personableness and to feel like it was a conversation and hey, not only are you getting a fresh haircut, we always talk about the experience, right? When you start to when you leave, when you get up and you have that feeling of that, just for me, it's a fresh restart. It's a new beginning. Everything feels nice, tight, and you're about to get back out there and go get it. And I think one of the things that we could all kind of connect on, being in the service industry and dealing with so many people day in and day out, is the ability to be relatable, right? And to change your hat. Every half hour to hour, whatever that is you have somebody new in front of you, like you just said, and it's a progression, right? It's not do we get new people that we have to build new relationships with and start in that given day? Yeah. But a lot of the other things along the way are just consistent, progressive conversations almost, right? It's a never-ending, like you said, it's a check-in. But the ability that you have to not only give that fresh haircut, where you could sit and then just for me, it's that ability to turn off.
Right.
We're leaders. We take ownership day in and day out, every day of our lives. For those 30 to 45 minutes or so that I sit down and just turn off, and I just have that trust, right? Like he's gonna do what I need to get done. Every hair that ain't supposed to be there is gonna be fresh, cut, tightened up. But then at the same time, it's a chance just to kind of turn off and like trust that he's gonna take lead and take control, as well as just have like a smooth, nice conversation. And it's always relatable. It's not like it feels very natural and smooth, you know. And I think it's a compliment to you because of the same time, like I said, we do that on a day-to-day basis, and we've gone early sometimes, we've stayed late, and you could see the person either before, the person after, and it's just like it's that fresh pickup. And we've even asked like, yo, like how long have you known this guy for? And he's like, I just kind of met him recently. You know? And I'm like, damn, that's a natural, cool relationship built experience you can feel.
And vice versa too, as Matt said, like that's what we do inside of our facility as well. And I think that's why we've connected and everything has resonated so well over the last year or so. And we're going to continue to grow our relationship. A lot in there is vulnerability, like you said too, like just being honest. Like that's part of it, like being vulnerable. You've probably seen a lot of that along your journey, not only while you're opening up your own business, but just all throughout. Take us through how you've grown from the beginning when you first started cutting hair, and how you've grown yourself and been able to be more of yourself and be that artist, right? And be that person and just do what you feel is right and what you feel is honest from start to now, you know?
Wow. Yeah. It's been a journey. It was a journey that started, I signed my lease mid-February of 2020 with no COVID in sight.
Right.
March 1st, I left my job that I was at for 5.5 years.
Right.
Moved in with my girlfriend mid-February.
Where were you? You were a car salesman, right?
Yeah, I was working for Audi.
Yep.
I built a nice book of business at Audi for 5.5 years. I enjoyed selling cars, but I knew it wasn't the end goal.
Right.
Because of time. Right? The car business consumes a lot of your time. You meet a nice girl, you want to spend more time, build a family. So that was the plan from the beginning. I knew I met a nice girl, and I wanted to build a family. My work schedule in the car business just didn't allow.
Oh yeah.
You know,
could get growing,
especially when you see, your kid grow up. You know that you're not able to be there, being in the car business as much as you want to.
You probably recognize it more. You know, your son's a couple months old. You probably recognize it now more. You saw it then,
yeah.
But now you're like, wow, like it validates your decision a little bit on what you did, right? You know, which is that's cool.
It's cool that I saw it. That it's almost like the light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Yeah.
As long as you keep your eye on the prize at the end, you'll stay on track.
Right.
And the track was to build a family and to be around more. At some points, right, you guys know from building a business, you feel like you're around less, but you're doing it for yourself.
Right. It's true. Yeah. And that right there is like, that's true, being in touch with your feelings and your understanding, and that you're capable of that is beautiful. You know, we talk about all the time, it's always a little bit more difficult for a man to show that and to express that and to swallow their pride a little bit, but that's pretty cool that you recognize that in moments, and it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, you know, and then you've built towards what your vision was and your light was at the end of the tunnel. Go a little before that, though. Let's go back, way before that, honestly. Like, I love your stories of when you first started cutting hair.
Yeah, when you moved here, like the beginning.
Yeah, like your first, from before your first haircut, when it was a thought in your mind, how it went from cutting hair to like your livelihood and changing people's lives then, right?
Sure. Yeah, this started as I was just, I outgrew what I was doing, and I know I did. And so now you try to figure out, what are you in it for, right? So I was in it at Audi. I enjoyed Audi. I enjoyed selling cars. I just wasn't able to be 100% myself, right? A haircut, I give the experience from start to finish. Not whether you buy the car or not, I did a good job.
Right.
And that's what it turned into. I like instant gratification. The car business wasn't giving me what I needed. Dollar amount, it was.
Right.
So most people would say, I'm just going to stay because I make X amount of dollars and I'm happy. And this is good for me. But if you want happiness, because I wanted to be happier, I needed to come out of that comfort zone of that 9 to 5 job. It just wasn't working. I wasn't happy. You can make all the money in the world, it doesn't matter.
and you knew what you wanted and needed, there's nothing more than instant gratification than giving a haircut in that time frame and being able to see it right when it's done.
You see it, you know,
Right.
and the feeling and the expression on your guys' faces.
Yeah, and you knew that that's what you wanted. So when you were a kid, like, did you look at when you were a kid cutting hair, and from your first haircut you ever gave, your second haircut when you were working at it, out of your, you know, who knows where it was, mom's living room, mom and dad's living room, kitchen, wherever it was. Was that like the same? Did you have that same feeling for it?
Yeah, it's always been my safety net.
Right.
Right? If work was slow, if I didn't sell as many cars as I wanted to that week, I knew my day off was Thursday. I had to just show up wherever I cut from 8 in the morning till 10 at night, and that was it. That was my net.
Cool, man. That's pretty cool.
I want you to dig real quick though. So when we first met, I asked, because I love stories, right? I love connecting with human beings. It's like something I always try to do wherever I go. When we first met, I asked, why did you start cutting hair? And where did that come from? And I think I'll start it off a little bit. Was when you first moved here, right? And you were trying to get a good haircut, and you couldn't, right?
Yeah, close.
Right? It was like something, and then kind of from there. How old were you? You were what?
I had a friend, Nick, move here from Brooklyn, okay? And he would go back and forth from here to Brooklyn, and he had the skin tape up. I'm talking, this was like 8th grade. He had a skin tape up. That was the thing to get. And no barbers around here were really understanding that haircut, right? All the kids used to go to Perth Amboy.
Right.
My mom didn't let me go to Perth Amboy. They're dirty. You can't go there, you know? And, you know, maybe they're not dirty, but look at the haircuts. They're fresh. I got to go there. So I just really, I took it upon myself, and I started cutting my own hair. And I'm like, I don't get that feeling when I go there. So really, this is good. This is the real reason why I started cutting hair. Right? So now I cut myself because you're not giving me the feeling I need, that I want. You're not giving me the look I want. And so now I put so much energy in learning how to cut hair to give people the feeling that I never got.
I love it.
That
That's
I
awesome.
wanted. I'm chasing it's a hamster wheel.
Right.
You know? And
It's so cool, man. It really is. And there's I mean, that's cutting hair and like being a stylist, being a barber there's art to it. You know what I mean? Like there's so much art to it. One of my favorite things is going into, now that he has his own shop, right? Going in there and just seeing all the different things. So he has art all over, which is cool. Like cool art by Jay Mitchell, right?
Yeah, Julian
Mitchell.
Mr.
Like
Mary,
cool stuff. But he's so, the shop is so diverse. And then he does random stuff. He'll take a can of spray paint and just randomly put stuff on the wall because that's what he wants to do, and that's open and honest.
Yeah.
And then everything, every picture tells a story. Everything in the shop tells a story. Every little thing that's in there tells a story and has a purpose. Right, the 100 I might get the number wrong, 106 or 109 from Memorial Day
you guys
week
were
from
part
those
of that.
cuts, and we were part of it, right? But that's cool because you're just building things that is just constantly going, and it's a constantly rolling story, and it's life. You know what I mean?
It's
So
life.
I think you, along with cutting hair and using those clippers and using those scissors, other things that you do inside your shop is also you putting things out there and showing like it's okay to be you, and it's all right. It's all right to show this and to do this stuff. You know,
100%.
I love that feeling to just going into the shop. Some barber shops or places I've been to before, you go in, you get your cut, you'll be out. And I know this is something you're shooting for even more so, and you pride yourself in because you have a lot of people that do it. But I'll get there a little early just because I like getting there early, and then I'll hang a little bit after. You know, if Matt's getting his cut, or even if not, like I'll continuing having a conversation and sit in the lounge area or hang out because there is that feeling there. There is that feeling there that, you know, everyone's in it together. It's okay to be whoever you want to be and what you want to be and get whatever kind of cut you want to get. You know what I mean? And I know that's what we love about it because that's what we pride ourselves in here as well. Is like all walks of life, all different people. That's kind of what's, I think I've watched you and him connect at another level, at a different level, in a different way. Why it's been intriguing for me, because you guys started working one-on-one at first to also connect with Tango as well. But Matt, what do you think has really catapulted your guys' relationship based off that, you know, vulnerability and based off all that stuff, you know?
Yeah, I think I would say number one, it starts with just the true, genuine authenticity of human beings. And I think where we have grown throughout our journey is like, we don't know everything, but we do know we're pretty good at reading people. You know, we'll give everyone the benefit of the doubt off the bat, and like kind of like open arms, open heart, and then like where it goes from there will just be organic, right? So I think we kind of do that all over, right? And I think from the beginning of time, we kind of just went in, and I think for me personally, a haircut is multiple things, right? It's something that I've done for myself because it's something that I've taken time with, and I go once a week. It's like my time to just dedicate to myself, and it's like a fresh new beginning. But at the same time, because I can't see well at all, right? I'm legally blind, and I can't touch myself up. So like, there's no touch up. So like, for me, it's also a higher level of vulnerability where like, when I sit there, I'm putting full trust in this guy, and it's not even even the beginning, and he'll tell, like I'm sure he'll tell you, like in the beginning, it's like, I'm sitting there and I can't see it, but I'm feeling, like I'm paying attention to everything, and I'm like, I want to know I'm feeling all these things. He tightens up my eyebrows, my ears, like my beard, like everything, to the point where now though, it's an effortless feeling. So I feel nothing now, and I sit there, it's like I can take a deep breath. And for me personally, that says a lot about him, because like, I don't do that very often, right? It's a very few times in my life where I'm going to give full control, in a sense, and full ownership to somebody else over my being, right? And I think that's just come from being truly authentic and genuine, being a man of his word, following through. Like, we're big on that stuff, like loyalty and following through on our words is something we've always talked about. And I think our circle over our years it's the tightest it's ever been, with surrounding ourselves with good people. And from there, now we just feed off each other, right? So we're very like-minded, but we feed off, we cross-promote our businesses, we try to push things back and forth, but we're also just good people. We're growing that relationship, in the fact, like, I just had my daughter's first birthday party and he came through, you know? So it's like, but I think that's where we are in our lives, where like, when you find people throughout your journey, you slowly start connecting more and more. And wherever we need to be in that given moment, we understand that, right? So like, if we call, we'll FaceTime, we'll shoot the shit and just talk and catch up on the day of like what we got going on and what we did. Or if he comes in and, you know, a lot of times lately we've been focusing on stretching and opening up his body and like cleansing him and allowing him to get back out and throw him back on the field and go attack his mission of building his empire and his movement. And sometimes we throw some gloves on and we bang around some boxing and move and have fun with that too. So I think for us, it's understanding each other and how we can bring value to each other, whether it is just a conversation or physically, you know, working with each other. And I think it's been nothing but, or in a relationship that's organically been grown.
Right. It's so funny because it seems like such a simple thing. It's a haircut, it's a barber, right? Like, but like, listen to this man here, Matt, like talk about like how important it is to him. And just in general, of all little things, and it's okay, it's all right to express that and be like that. People might ask him and myself, and why is it so important you go every week, every other week? He just told you why, and that's okay. Like, that's why, and that's fine. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's all good. Like, he doesn't give a crap what you think of how this man gets his haircut and his beard done and everything every week. Because that's what he chooses to do, and that's how it makes him feel. Don't tell anyone which day. No, I'm just kidding. Don't give away his time. No. But that's how he feels. Like, that's the part I love about it the most, and that's why I love this topic, because like, it's such a simple thing that people will angst about and be crazy over, right? I'm saying this because we've been in this conversation so many times. Like, oh, you got your haircut appointment again? And I said, yeah, I do, baby, and I can't wait for it, right?
You know what it comes down to, too? I had this talk with somebody the other day. You know, like, you know when you go to like a wedding? I think a wedding is a good example, right? Because a wedding is like a Showtime game day, right? Like, so like, whether you want to or not, like you're showing up on your best of this, you know? So like, whether you're into that or not, it's kind of like the criteria in a way, right? Is there modifications? Do people have different styles of weddings? Of course, to each their own. But for the most part, a wedding, you're kind of getting dressed up, you're putting on your suit or your tux, or, you know, girls are putting on their dresses and their heels. And I think the preparation leading up to that feeling of how you feel, bang, when you're ready to walk out, for me, that feeling of just feeling fresh, strong, tight, confident, and empowered was a feeling that I felt. And then I said to myself, wait a second, like, why am I waiting for a couple moments in my life? Like, for me, with the level at which we're playing to take over an industry and to build this empire, the Relentless movement, like, every day is game day. Like, I gotta show up. Like, there is no off days. Like, I'm showing up every day to get it and to leave it on the field. So if I could take those 30 to 45 minutes a day to just turn off, sit down, let this guy put me right back into place and throw me back out there, like, all I'm doing is optimizing my play, right? So for me, it makes me feel just the best version of myself, like we always say. And, like, if I could do that little bit for myself to get back out there, I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep that feeling up, you know? So, like you said earlier, it's about understanding how to optimize how you are in those moments and how you feel and your happiness and your fulfillment. To me, it's just like one of those ingredients. Boom, I'm just throwing it in the pot.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Another ingredient.
It's an ingredient.
That's all this is.
It's an ingredient, yep.
Right? That's literally all this is. Let's reduce to the ridiculous.
Right. And one of them right now that we're all practicing together is communication, is communicating. That's like a way of showing your emotions, a way of talking things out, a way of putting things out there. We talked about this.
Sure.
My question for you is, along the way, how important have you found it to communicate with people, from making your first cuts to deciding to go into the industry and working at Justin's, to when you left Justin's, to going to Audi, to opening your own shop? That's, on the surface what I know. What moments, what lines of communication did you go through? When did you find it so important to be able to pick up that phone and have that conversation and it pay off, right?
I think the most important thing was realizing that you need retention. The only way to last in really any industry is your retention. So you're only as good as your last haircut. Right? That next haircut grew in, that sick fade is over within 2 weeks. Right? Now you have an expectation that you need to perform and live up to every day. And it's not a bad expectation, but I set the bar for myself.
You put it out there.
This is what I'm giving you. I'm not a robot, but 9.5 haircuts out of 10 are going to be my way. Right? Are going to be my haircut. And retention, that's you need to retain the client.
Yeah, and that's huge. And you put that out there, like you say it. You know what I mean? Like you say, hey, listen, like you're in my chair. We always say, I'm gonna give you a little what you want, a little what you need. We did a little switch up the other day with my cut. It was a great conversation. It was communication.
But that's all it was. Someone that gets a mid-skin fade who wants it low.
Right. Yeah, mix it up.
Let's figure something new out, maybe. Right. If I don't keep it spicy, right, like anything, like any relationship.
Yeah, it's true.
Right?
Yeah. Anything innovative, being innovative, switching things up, mixing it up.
I think it's more the trust that he puts in, like other grown men, right? It's like, so we're talking about emotion, we're talking about trust, we're talking about all these communication, which is not necessarily the first things you would think of when you think of like men, like
going to a barbershop.
Going over, right? It's
right.
not that right off the jump, but I think one of the great things that you do is the trust that you bring to us. Like we were saying this the other day, like if you tell us to use something, like we're gonna use it. Like if you change my product or do this, do that, like they're just like, it's not even like a question to me, right? Like you're my guy in that whole space, and the trust is just there. And I think it's a special thing, because for the ability for grown men to let their guard down and to trust another grown man, like that's something that's why we want to talk about this today, right? It's about the ability to connect with other men, but still have like-mindedness and not to feel like or not to be too egotistical. Like it's a very funny line to walk, we all got the pride, we all got the testosterone going on, and it's like, but what brings that out? And I think it is that authentic genuineness of just letting people know, like, you're here, you got them in the best way. Like, you want nothing but the best for them along the way. And that's where you're consistent with that. Your retention, like you've spoken about, right? You're a very consistent person. Sure. You are who you are. And that's the thing. Like, you will see through stuff after a while. But if it's true and authentic, it just is. That's just what it is, right? Yeah. And then from there, everything just works itself out.
I want to steer not too far away, but because it's just what we talk about, right? It's our worlds that we live in is the training facility and the barbershop. But more on life. I'm going to start it off. Well, then I'll pass it to one of you. What is one of the most emotional experiences that you've had in your life? And elaborate on it a little bit. Remember, it doesn't have to be bad, it doesn't have to be sad, it could be happy. It's one of the most emotional experiences that when we say that word, you could think of like, man, like that's where I was. You know, for me, what I'm going to use, I'll shine the light on it, a positive experience and something that people might think otherwise, you know, whatever, you're soft, you're this, you're that, was my wedding, right? My wedding day,
That's beautiful.
it was, thanks man, thanks. It was built up, right? Like, and I'm sure everyone has had certain levels in it, but to me, I believe it was a point that it brought me to, out of my whole journey in life to that point where there's bad, there's good, there's you know, loss of life, there's fights between family members, there's arguments, there's things that just happen in life. There's also celebrations of all different sorts. For me, that was a point, like you talked about getting ready for the wedding day, like that we built up to, right? And especially in my wife and our relationship. So for me, it was everything. All the right people were there in one place. It was a positive day, right? And you were with me, so you remember. And we're getting ready to walk out, and here comes anxious Paul, nervous Paul, but more on the emotional end. More like happy tears, like happy cry. Like I couldn't hold it back.
Wow.
Right? It was crazy. Like and
the
my boys all know me.
Yeah.
So like they were like checking on me. Like, oh, is he gonna go down? Like, is he nervous? And like it wasn't that. Like it was different. I was like, yo, I'm actually good. Like I'm good. But I'm feeling it, but I'm good. It's a different feeling.
Yeah.
Right? And I was probably bawling the whole entire time, right? And you couldn't resist it. I couldn't hold it back. It was like some of those moments where there was anger, there was sadness, and you couldn't hold it back. But it was one of the first times in my life where I kind of just let it all kind of go and come to fruition because all those people that have built and grown me through my life were there next to me and with me. So for me, that's what it was. That's what I reflect back on. And to Matt's point of being prepared for a day like that, a moment like that, it's also prepared me and gave me a different, from the next day that I step back into my life, to not take those days for granted and to prepare. If I'm going to prepare for such a joyous day, why wouldn't I prepare for every day of my life like that? To a certain extent, right?
Sure.
I mean, I'm not gonna get a shuttle bus to work, and I'm not gonna
Yeah.
get all that stuff. But to a certain extent, in my mindset, I'm gonna prepare for that, right?
Yeah.
So what was a moment for you? You're probably thinking as I'm talking a little bit. Like, take a second. Like, what was a moment for you?
You were in. That's being fully
could-
in touch
Right.
with yourself that day in that moment.
It is, you know. So for you, like, where was there a moment? It could be anything.
Bro, I
you know?
have moments every day.
Right, I know.
Right.
But that's why we brought you here today to talk too, because we have these great organic conversations.
Yeah, organic.
Yeah. So what was one of them for you?
Oh my God, one of them.
Get the book out. No, I'm just kidding.
One of them. I don't know if I mean, I have a ton of moments, right? But I guess maybe to broaden it is to be in touch with yourself,
Right.
whether it's good, bad, you know, because I could go totally emotional story, I could go total joy.
Right.
It's a little early to tap into.
Yeah,
that
for sure.
part,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
a wedding, big positive day,
Yeah.
right? I have, major setbacks, but then you get ahead from the setback. All right, one story I can think of, right? 2018, March 13th, 2018. I'm on my way to a playoff basketball game.
You're playing in it? Or
I'm
you're
playing
going?
in a playoff
Yeah,
basketball game.
yeah.
I've made every game. Basketball is super important to me. That's my stress reliever.
Right.
So I look forward to it that much more.
Right.
But you can't box out kids in the barber shop. They don't allow it. They don't allow it.
Yeah.
So
Only up top,
Yeah,
you're right.
I was in a bad car accident on my way to this playoff basketball game. I had broke my femur. Other people were involved. My brother had just passed away maybe a year before that.
Right.
So, the dust wasn't settled at home in life. I mean, this is all a new way of life. And I remember being in the car accident. There's not much I remember. And I was on my way. I didn't know the right way to transition out of my parents' house into my own house, to buy a house for myself. Right? I was living in my parents' basement, finished basement, saving more money that I could think of. But I was ready for my next journey. I just didn't know the right time.
And this is after all this went on.
Yeah, this is so my brother passed. I was stuck in limbo because I'm 27 years old, and an Italian mother will keep you home till you're 40.
Bad car accident, broke your femur, which is
femur.
You're building back up, probably learning how to walk again,
Yeah.
especially with that with the leg that you broke.
Yeah, you had to relearn how to walk.
So now you're trying to figure out how you're going to transition to Anthony's life.
Yeah,
his
like
own.
I knew what I wanted. I
Right,
just didn't know how comfortable I was getting there.
Right.
Around other people.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
It was other people that I felt that I didn't want to let down by leaving. And this is how I felt previous to the accident. Right? So now I'm in the car accident. Now I break my femur. I'm in the hospital 6 days. Can't walk. Leg is stuck straight. Right? You wake up, and that's it. This is your new, you still have life.
Right.
Right? You're still here. It's only a broken leg is what I thought.
Right.
You go through the rehab part of it. So now fast forward 5 months, I was home. It was me, my mother, my father, my sister. Right? I shackled up upstairs in my brother's old room. I had a garage door opener that I'd open the garage right underneath and let my friends in. Right? So whenever someone wanted to come, I just hit the garage door button. My point is, after the 5 months of being home every day and building like the strongest connection on every emotional level with my family was the most important thing to me at the time before I left the nest. So it was, I don't wish a car accident, nothing, but it was I wouldn't change one outcome of how everything went, because it led me up to moving out and building the strongest bond with my mother, my father, my sister in the house. And once I healed,
Beautiful, man.
It all.
and I transitioned. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Hard times build character, baby. That's what it's about.
That's what it is.
Right. I love it. That's awesome.
That was good.
What about for you, man?
Very nice. Again, between all three of us, we could definitely bust the book
yeah,
out.
for sure.
That's for sure. I think where I'm gonna go though is more recent. Yesterday actually was my baby's first birthday, so she was 1. So I think a year ago, it was my wife and I leading up into our pregnancy, first kid. It's very exciting. I think it's it's like a roller coaster of emotions, right? Because it's new. You don't know what's going on, right? Nobody knows really. You can hear things, you look things up, you have great conversations, but now you're in it. This is live action, so she's feeling it. She doesn't know what's going on. It's brand new, and you're feeling all these things. I'm on my end. The type of guy I am is I like to step up and take things, right? Like if you're having something, like if I can help you, I want to take it. But like this one, you all you could do is just be there, which is challenging in itself. So I think all in all, that could be a crazy experience for anybody for the first time. And I think we got led right into the pandemic, and I think at that time, for me personally, there was so many things that happened and changed from us shutting down the doors of Relentless. So it went from like us being pregnant, getting exciting. We were like in the busiest time of the Relentless movement. Like it couldn't have been a cooler experience taking place at that time of us growing as men, our families, the business thriving. And then bang, everything shifts and changes. Like in one day we made our decision, we shut the facility down, and then from there was trying to figure it out where to go from there. It was unmarked, unknown territory. There was no vision in sight of where to go from there, right? So
no direct answers at all.
No answers. Yeah. We shut the business, then we go into a quarantine. Now she's pregnant. Now I'm home every day. We're going to doctors. I can't go in. I got to sit outside. It literally changed everything. And I think for me, I'm definitely an emotional person. I had to figure out how to work with my emotions along the journey from being a little overzealous and a little irrational in my earlier years, to then learning how to take a deep breath and like use the aggressiveness to put it out towards positive, productive action, right? That was definitely a long time learned lesson, and I'm still learning. But in that moment, I felt so much pressure and so much emotion because I felt like my decisions and my actions were going to be viewed heavily more than ever because of the microscope now. Like there was nothing else. There was so much downtime. My team, we took the team out. We got them on unemployment. Our members, our clientele, our community, we wanted nothing more but to keep empowering them day in and day out. And now I'm home. The whole thing, we weren't sure if I was going to be able to get in with the labor and delivery. That was up in the air until they passed the law.
All family members who wants to help out, who wants to do this, who wants to... That's tough. Yeah. So
it was a lot, and I think the one thing that I'd settled back to was like we all keep talking was just surrounding ourselves with the best people. That's what it was. It was we talked every single day, multiple times a day. You talk to your mom, your dad, my tightest circle. That's where I kept finding peace and comfort of just like taking it one day at a time, reminding her like everything was okay. So even if I wasn't sure, everything's gonna be everything's gonna be okay.
Having that conversation every day.
Every day, talking to her, everything's gonna be okay. I'm gonna be in there with you. They can't take us down. Like this is just one more chapter in the book. Nothing will ever stop me from this movement and this empire we're building. Did I know for sure what was happening? No, obviously nobody knew. But I knew it didn't matter because all the different experiences and the adversities and the obstacles we've already overcome, this would just be another notch on the belt. That's it. So I didn't know how I was going to figure it out, but I knew we would. I think that moment, though, just had so many things at once that I could have had a chance to be like, ooh, like, I don't know about this one, right? But it was one day at a time. It was about staying present. It was about being in the moment and focusing on solutions and surrounding ourselves with great people. So it just comes back to the bread and butter of what we know and what we do. When it gets crazy and there's chaos, it's like take that deep breath, find yourself first, look to your left, look to your right, and then take one step forward at a time and figure it out as it comes from there.
I just want to highlight what I pull from the center of all that, because the best part about what you just went through or brought us through was like how broad it was. That's the most beautiful thing, is it showed how everything is connected.
Whole life,
how everything is connected, from our team at Relentless to his family to his wife to his daughter. Like it's all connected, and that's all right that it's all connected. And the biggest thing with all that was the fact that how you keep harping on surrounding yourself with the right people. It doesn't have to be physically. There's so many ways that we can stay in touch with people and communicate. I love what Anthony does the best. He does a big FaceTime on. I love
the thought.
And like do that.
Yes.
FaceTime someone, call someone, talk to them, have a conversation with somebody. You be amazed on how far it could go. Have that conversation and call them back the next day and have the same conversation again, and just keep working through it. And that's the biggest thing, And I all those were mine. I like to think was good too on the emotional end. But both of your broad perspectives and the story you just brought us through for each of you, that's what it's about. And that's truly being vulnerable, explaining and showing how your emotions affected you and other people that you surrounded yourself with, and how they affected you as well. What I want to leave it off with and close it up with is as simple as this. Quote from you, or just some words of advice in life, real quick. What do you like to say? What's something you like to go to for the people listening? Words of advice or a quote. I said this
before we started up. It's okay to be softer than baby shit.
I like it.
It's okay. That was from the beginning. So I'm gonna stick with that.
That's it. Man to man, right there.
It's okay to be softer than baby shit.
I love it. And in this world we're in today, that is so important right there.
Yeah.
In this where it's about being a macho man, it's about being strong. Like you could be all that, but you could also at certain moments soften up, just like baby shit. And it's all good. You know what I mean?
We said something yesterday too at the shop. You don't have to be a lover or a fighter. You could be a lover and a fighter.
Yeah.
You could decide there's a time and a place to be sweet and nice, or to step up and strap up a little bit and get in there.
Why was it that you're growing up, you're taught to be either or?
Why
can't you be both?
Yes.
Right? You had clicked at 30 years old.
Yes. Right. Yes. It's so true.
We looked at each other. I was like, I'm a lover and a fighter.
yeah. And we're
But
like,
it's okay to,
That's
and
it.
it's okay.
Yeah.
One thing I want to add too is one thing that you said earlier, and I'm going to say it to my story as well. That story, I like to say that eventually there will be a book written on this relentless movement from our beginnings of times, right? And I believe that chapter of the story that I told, I would never have changed it. I wouldn't want it any other way. And I also believe it will be one of the greatest chapters that I will always go back to in my personal movement of who really justified and verified who I was and what I'm meant to do, and is to lead through the darkest moments and just to stay strong and lead. But I think it justified it for me personally. And I think I grew so much in myself, and I wouldn't want to have done it any other way. And the relationships that we spoke about as well. My wife, my parents, my family, my team, and then my little baby girl too at the end of it was well worth it all.
For sure. Awesome stuff. Thank you everyone for tuning in and listening.
Yeah, guys, thank you.
Yeah. It was very
Special
great.
guest, Anthony
Thank
Tango,
you.
Tango's Barbershop. More than a barbershop, baby. It's the spot where he's building it, he's growing it, we're growing with him. We love everything that it's about as a person and as a business. Beautiful stuff going on there. Max Strout, Paul Alvear, checking out episode number 11, The Relentless Way podcast. Share away. If we deliver the goods, as we always say, our mission is to bring this human development and growth to the table for your ears to listen to and absorb, and hopefully it changes a life. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. So definitely share away. Amazon Music right now and Spotify. If you have any questions, suggestions, bring them to the table. Reach out to us. Hit us up on our social, on our emails, phone numbers, whatever you got. Reach out to us. Checking out The Relentless Way podcast, episode 11, Showing Emotion.